Okay.
All good.
Oh, here's Janet now. Okay, great. How you doing, everyone? We are welcome to the Arts Commission meeting. We're gonna start with a roll call. I'll just call the names and you can just respond with here and I. Starting with myself, Mark Gallen, Chair, and Robert Abriola.
Aye, here.
Ms. Janet Evelyn.
Here.
Thank you so much. Nori.
Aye.
Thank you very much, Nora Gruden. Elizabeth Tardif.
Oh, here? Can you hear?
Elizabeth, got.
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay.
Oh.
Yep,
Okay.
thank you so much. We have Kadeem Roberts.
Present.
Thank you, sir. Melissa Matuska.
Here.
Thank you so much. Brian Casper cannot be here this evening. Jolie Leung has resigned due to conflicts with her schooling. Matt O'Callahan, had resigned for the similar reason, so we are down 2 members. However, given the current number of people we have a quorum. And we hope to have replacements for those 2 people shortly. That said, we can move on to the agenda. Sabrina, do we have anybody on the call in the way of public participation?
We do not.
Okay, thank you very much. We were supposed to have Jennifer Bangzer at some point. So she may.
I'm here, Mark. I'm here.
Oh, very
Yeah.
good. Thank you so much.
So whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much. Okay, we can move on to the minutes of September 7th, our regular meeting minutes. Did anybody have any questions about the minutes? Did anybody have any issues or conflicts with it? Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes?
I read through them, Mark. I think they're okay. So I'll motion to approve.
Okay, noted. Do we have a second to approve the minutes from September?
could.
7th?
Kadeem Roberts, second it.
Thank you so much. So with those 2 as I, we'll just do a roll call. Elizabeth Tardif. Can you unmute?
I am unmuted. Do you not hear me?
Okay,
Yeah,
I
we
hear
got
you
it.
now.
Okay, okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Nori Gruden.
Aye.
Thank you so much. Melissa Matuska.
Aye.
Thank you so much. Janet Evelyn.
Aye.
Thank you so much. Okay, so the ayes carry. Thank you so much. We can move on to the committee staff update, and we can turn it over to Nori for the budget committee update.
Yes. With the expenditures last month and whatever else was outstanding, our current balance, and Sabrina can correct me if I'm wrong, is $11,798.81. And it looks like we had a negative amount of $250 that we put into other operating supplies. Correct, Sabrina?
Yeah, so that was because one of the invoices for something that we processed last fiscal year got delivered to us late. So finance is fixing all of that stuff.
So that was credited and will be reconciled.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the red is the negative then, correct?
Correct.
And
Did anyone-
well, I
Yeah.
was gonna ask if the other expenditures like the booth at the last festival that we had that Mad Lab did, that's been accounted for, correct?
Yes.
So we don't have, looking at this, it doesn't show any, doesn't look like there's any outstanding expenditures. that I can
Not at-
tell.
Yeah, not at this moment. Michelle will probably send me an invoice maybe next week or this week. But other than that, there's nothing outstanding.
Thank you.
The tent that we bought was bought out of another budget, I guess?
Yeah, I paid for that
Okay.
out
Oh,
of
well-
the business development tourism budget.
I'm sorry, what was that you had paid for?
The
Tent.
tent,
That new tent we bought for the art manifestation, but we're gonna use it for other things, I guess.
Mhm.
Where is that? Is that down City Hall now or?
No, it's in my apartment, actually. I'd love to find another home for it.
I can keep it at City Hall if you want to bring it back at some point. I can keep it in our closet or something.
Mark,
Alright.
we could put it in the Spag Mansion, in the
Okay.
attic if you want to, I mean, there's a ton of space up there. We can put it up there if you want.
Oh, very cool. Okay, good. Okay. Did anyone else have any questions for Nori? Okay, so we can move on to the Communications Committee. I don't really have anything specific to report other than the fact that we have not been boosting any posts in the last month. There's been, I know we didn't have the budget for it at one point. I guess that's a question, more of a question than a statement. Sabrina, when the fiscal budget turned, were we still at a point where we didn't have any money for that?
No, we have funding for that in that line item account.
Okay, so we really need to really just come up with a new social media plan then.
Correct.
Okay, so I can address that with Michelle offline. I don't really have anything new to report on communications, except that social media is continuing to grow.
Well, Mark, we talked about a newsletter, whether we did it quarterly as part of the communications, and it could be an online newsletter, so it doesn't have to be anything printed, but it could be digital. So, it's really just the cost of writing the content, and then we can disperse it out. It can be posted on city website. We can send it through social media.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about it. I still would like to see that come to, fruition at some point.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, we approved for the additional funding for Michelle. We just need to really pick a start date. I mean, quarterly, we had talked loosely about quarterly. Did anybody else have any opinions on that?
I mean, Mark, it could be a one pager. It doesn't have to be like, sometimes people hear newsletter and they think it's got to be, it could be an 8.5 by 11. And there could be a section on like art events and, going on and coming up in that quarter. And then maybe there's one or two spotlight articles of something. So
Yeah,
I think we can start small. I think quarterly is probably or biannually, but I think quarterly one pager is totally doable.
mhm. Okay,
I mean, I can list probably 5 events going on, with the next 3 months that are in the area between the different artist guilds and shows going on. So I don't think we'll have a problem with content. It's just a matter of getting someone to write it.
right.
So if we have the budget, why not pay Michelle to start doing it?
Yeah.
And we can target, maybe we start, the first one is, the end of January or something.
Mhm. Yeah, I think starting with the first of the year makes a lot of sense.
Well, wouldn't you want to do something to put the word out? Maybe our inaugural one will be the film festival. To get our feet wet at least, because we can borrow content from Jennifer,
Yeah.
just to have something,
When is that festival?
It's December 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Okay, well, yeah, we'd have to get it out like within the next month, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, we can certainly get you some collateral to use for sure.
yeah.
Happy to. We'd be thrilled to.
Okay. All right, so we'll get that up. So, so what do you think? Do you think just before Thanksgiving? What are your feelings about?
Either just before or kind of right after. So if the film festival is, the middle of December, it's got to go out the first week of December at the latest.
Yeah, okay.
I'm kind of overextended, but maybe I can come up with a layout for one, but then, that's a template to use for a writer to go in and plug in articles.
Yeah, we have a MailChimp account, so I can give you access. We can talk about a template for it. That's, it's really just a matter of deciding on a start date and getting it together.
Yeah.
What kind of information are we going to want to put out in the newsletter? Like, what is the purpose of the newsletter? Just to sort of let people know we're out here?
Yeah, from my point of view, it's about, it's kind of public exposure for the Arts Commission, the work that we do, and creating awareness for what we do, but also performing a service for the community, letting people know about, events like the Norwalk Film Festival, et cetera.
Yeah, I think Liz, it's probably because there's really nowhere to go to understand everything that's going on. And I can't tell you, I'm in the arts as you are as well. And I don't know how many times I've missed an event. I'm like, oh crap, I didn't even know about that. So I feel like if we can collect that information, it can be a go-to, form of communication. And then we get exposure that we're presenting what's going on, like what's happening in town.
So what about FC Buzz? That seems to be their purpose, is they have that newsletter. They send out a monthly newsletter. They do announcements for all kinds of events going on in the area. So,
Yeah, but you got to pay.
oh, right. Yeah, exactly.
Problem. Like I've called a bunch of them, they want like $300. So I never
Okay.
used them, right? So that's the thing. You got to pay for that.
Is the FC Buzz, is that Fairfield Cultural Alliance?
Yes, it is. Yes.
You got
Jennifer used to work on that, right? Didn't you work on that?
I did. I mean, I think that as far as when I was there, is going back a few years now, but the Arts Commission was a member. So as a member, you can post your events up there.
Right.
Yeah,
for
you
free.
gotta, well, no, you do, but you have to pay the membership dues to get in and all that. So
It shouldn't be that much. They used to have $100 for municipalities unless they've changed the rate, and that's for a year. And then you can post everything and ask for them to be selected in the newsletter and give them a nudge, for the, it's not for me to speak to, but.
And they have a feature where, you can just list your events. If you're a member, you could just list your events and your events just pop up.
Yeah.
In
Mark,
a search, a query, and of course, David does a really good job of, highlighting events on a weekly basis across the county, or across the Cultural Alliance market area. So I'm not familiar with having to pay
it's the membership.
$300 to post anything on there. They do have a feature where if you wanted to kind of highlight an event, but it's from what I remember, it's nominal. It's not that much. It's not in the range of 300, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, to your point, Janet, at the Westport Library, we've had them for I think it was $30 to do a targeted e-blast.
Right.
So if you have something really special that you wanted to highlight, yeah.
Well, I think it's like, I think we've had this talk before in other groups. There are probably 10 different event calendars throughout Norwalk between the Fairfield Culture Alliance and Norwalk 2.0 and et cetera, where
County.
people, people create an event calendar and it's so much work for one person to maintain it. So what they do is they make it open to other people to go there and post their events. And then they're sort of like, well, why aren't people posting their events? And the reality is because when you have an event, there's 10 places that you need to post it. And it just becomes a lot of work. So it's one of those things where I think it's great that we can promote big events, but for us to go and to list other people's events on event calendars, I just think that's beyond the scope of what we could possibly do.
And it should be, because then we would becoming like a media outlet, in a sense, which we're not. I mean, I think the idea of the newsletter is great. I mean, maybe it should be, there is an overkill in information on events, and so much is going on in town all the time. I mean, maybe we should think about what the scope of the newsletter should be. So, for example, maybe it should be more about what the Arts Commission in relation to the city and what the city is doing with regards to public art, or with regards to just art in general in the city, and it would be news about that. So, for example, it would serve, for the MLK art installation project that we did, the newsletter would serve as a means to just get information out about what the city is doing and how the Arts Commission is, moving those parts and needles, if you will.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jen. I think that's true, and it becomes our media outlet for what we are doing and how we are trying to help. But I think there's also maybe there's a chance for us to highlight some of the different artistic mediums of Norwalk, simply to raise awareness for Norwalk as a city of the arts. I think that's something possibly within our scope.
Yeah, I
Any
think
thoughts on that?
not a huge events calendar, but there could be one big spotlight or two that we want to call out in the newsletter, just to inform people, whether it's a art manifestation, this movie that's coming up. We can highlight a few of those.
Well, I could see doing like, did you know about SPAGs, and do like a little blurb on what SPAG is, and then do one on Meet Mad Lab, and have a little intro of what Mad Lab is and what they're doing, so people are aware of these art places in town.
Mhm.
I like
And just,
the idea of. I like the idea of putting it, making it really about Norwalk and the Norwalk Arts Commission, so that we're not sort of being redundant with the FC buzz, and focus more on Norwalk.
Yeah, we definitely should focus on Norwalk.
Yeah.
Sure.
Definitely it's Norwalk focus for sure.
Yeah. So Bob, I'm open to any ideas you have on a template or outline, and within the communications, committee. I mean, I kind of hope that all the members of the committees would sort of like be proactive about reaching out and saying, here's an event that I learned about, and I think it should go in a newsletter, rather than put it on Michelle or one person to be the sort of the detective to find out about all the news. I think the more that we can be involved, the better it will be.
Well, Mark, maybe the communications committee can propose like content, structure, content, and then I'm happy to work on the layout.
Okay, will do.
Maybe goal, purpose, maybe there's like a couple sections to it.
Mhm.
What's happening in town, what's coming up from the Arts Commission, whatever the communication group suggests, maybe they can put something together,
Okay,
present it to the group.
yeah, that sounds good.
Could be a little article from Mark Allen, the chair of the commission,
Who?
from you,
Got it.
Mark's Corner.
Yeah.
All right, duly noted. Okay, so by the next meeting, I will have I'll have a more informed communications committee update on that. With a plan going forward. Brian isn't here from the, for infrastructure. And Stephen apparently was not able to make it as well. Have you got, Brian, Robert, had you guys met as infrastructure since the last meeting?
We didn't meet as a group. I did speak with Brian after the last meeting a little bit. I wanted to just talk a little bit more about, he had the sites that he was looking for like the communal public art. So I was just asking him a little bit more about the locations and his thoughts on that. So I really like the idea, and I think it would be terrific if we can get that approved through.
You're talking about the art in the underpass?
Yeah. Well, he had he wants to kind of make it broader, but he has a few locations right in Norwalk that he wants to start doing. So he had mentioned how he wrote to the state or however he communicated out, because I think, Sabrina, you might have alluded that it could be a difficult road, but I feel like Brian's got a lot of energy behind it and he wants to see it, come to fruition. So I just was asking him questions about it and what I can do to help. But I don't have really an update as to where he is with next steps on it.
Yeah. I'd also got you guys to maybe start thinking about that. We've been having a lot of talks. I had a long talk with Jessica Casey about that section of underpass between the Sono Mall before you get to that stretch before where it ends up at Lockwood. And then you got that stretch is like, we talked about that, the Vines installation in there.
Yeah.
And then you got the other overpass, which kind of like leads into Sabrina, what's the name of that park? Where Christopher Columbus statue was?
Heritage Park?
Yeah, Heritage Park. So you got that long stretch there where, are you guys all familiar with the Vines and what that is? Everybody here? The Vines is, it's an art installation that was commissioned by the redevelopment agency a few years ago. I don't know, maybe Sabrina, what, 10 years ago, maybe?
It finished like 5 years ago.
That's all? Oh. But basically it's a metal, it kind of looks like that they're vines hanging, but it's basically a metal sculpting that was commissioned from this artist. And it basically says like hello in like 13 different languages. It's not meant to be literally read, but it kind of stretches along that entire wall there between the two overpasses. And I was talking to Jessica about, the fact is, whether we paint them or not, those underpasses and all those walls are so dirty and kind of disgusting. So we were talking about the idea of art to beautify that whole stretch there. So I feel like there's a tremendous opportunity there because, that's people think of that as like this little desolate piece of road, but it's such a major artery. It connects Sono with the old downtown Norwalk. So I feel like that's a really important piece of a potential place for art. And across the street, you have the Ryan D. Peters Art Park, which is, has no art in it currently, but there's a tremendous opportunity there for art. So hopefully we can talk about that in the future. So moving on, we were going to have a proposal from Georgette Worth. So basically, if you guys don't know, we've been talking a lot about mosaics lately, but Georgette Worth was a Norwalk, or she's a Norwalk artist who had a prominent mosaic tile studio in Wilton, and she had done a number of tile mosaics around Norwalk, and one of them was out at the beach. It was by not Bailey Beach, I'm sorry, Calf Pasture Beach. And apparently one of her one of the murals was damaged during one of the recent storms, and half of it had fallen off the wall. And so I went out there to take a look at it. She had called me. And she had called me because she wanted help in raising the money to get it repaired. She was planning to come to the meeting today to make a proposal for the Arts Commission sort of endorsing this move to get it repaired. But offline, I was able to work with Sabrina, and we went through the underwriters with Norwalk. So basically, the insurance on the public art is going to cover the repair. So that's happening now. So right now, we're looking for contractors who are going to do the work, and Georgette is going to oversee the repair, and hopefully that will be completed in the next, in the next quarter. But the good news is that it's a really cool piece. If you haven't seen it, it's out by the beach house, out by Calf Pasture Beach. But it's the good news is it's going to get repaired very soon.
Where is it, Mark? I'm not really sure I know where that is.
So if you go down to where you pass through the guardhouse at Calf Pasture Beach, and then you go to where they have like the kind of near Ripke's Cafe. It's on the side facing the parking lot. It's probably about
is that
10 feet by 5 feet high. It's like a whole wall.
Okay, maybe I thought that was a mural and it's a tiled mural.
Yeah, it's painted tile.
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
It's like a mural, but it's
Hey, Mark,
yeah,
this is Melissa. Is that listed in our inventory?
I believe so.
Okay. And my only suggestion is we just want to make sure that it is listed in our inventory, especially if insurance is taking care of part of it.
Yeah, I'd have to check. I don't know if it's on our inventory, if it's a piece that's assigned to Park and Rec, but
Okay.
we can
We
verify
just,
that.
I feel like we just should make sure that it is, just so, we could also have the history of it, we can, put who the new people are or who the people are that repaired it, her contact information. I mean, as much information as we can also tie with that piece, and also the history of it being repaired is going to be helpful in the future.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that's a good idea. That sort of opens up the conversation I was having with Elizabeth, and this is more about, I guess it's kind of infrastructure committee, because we were talking about the public art collection. I talked to Elizabeth, I talked to Stephen about this. They were both very interested in the idea of sort of like, reassessing the Norwalk public art collection in the sense of it being more inclusive with not just the art that we have, that we sort of control, but the art that the city owns in general. So we've been talking about that. Sabrina, we had talked about that in terms of hiring a contractor at one point to do that assessment.
Yeah, I'm gonna request it again this fiscal year, like this upcoming fiscal year for the budget season, but we didn't get any of it last year, but I'm hopeful that we can get it this go.
Well, I was thinking maybe what we could do is with Stephen, who's really interested, and Elizabeth, you were interested, maybe we could get together and write a proposal for this. So at least, Sabrina, you have something that was sort of in writing, explain the concept. And I talked to David Westmoreland about it. He was all for it, but I think that it's a matter of getting people to understand that we're not trying to take anybody's art away. We just want it to be sort of all publicly noted. I mean, there's nowhere that you can go on the city website and see all the art that, or even know about all the art that the city of Norwalk actually owns, which is quite extensive.
Yeah, any proposal that you guys make up, and if you, in your research and making it, if you find, any article that describes like the value of doing a public art inventory for a city, anything like that, I can attach to the request so that the council members and the BET get that backup information is all helpful. So anything that you guys put together, I'm happy to do that to help make our case a little better.
Okay. So I'll follow up with Stephen, but Elizabeth, you and I, maybe we could talk offline about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, moving on to the old business. It's not going to be a very long meeting today. We don't have a lot of stuff to talk about, but we are going to cycle back to Jennifer, who's here with a request, a sponsorship request for the Norwalk Film Festival. And she had sent us a PDF deck, which I forwarded to everybody, admittedly not until yesterday. But I don't know if everybody's had a chance to look at it, but here it is, and we'll pass it over to Jennifer.
Hi, thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me back, everybody. I just want to add one more thing before we move on to the film festival. In hearing about the public art inventory for Norwalk, the Connecticut League of History Organization is creating a statewide database of public art.
Wow.
And
Can you repeat the
municipalities.
name of that group? Who's that?
It's the Connecticut League. I believe it's run by the Connecticut League of History Organizations. And a municipality can, from my understanding, buy a membership, and they have a database where all your art can go up there. If you're interested, we're doing it in Westport because the library has an extensive collection that by proxy will be part of the Westport collection. If you want, I can send you some information about it if, as you're digging a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's new. It's launching this fall, which is like now, so I don't know. But it's an ongoing program. It's pretty exciting. So I'll send you the info on that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure to add that because information is hard. There's so much of it out there, but somehow it's hard to come by at the same time, which is anyway. So yeah, so I don't know if anybody had a chance to look through our deck for creating awareness and support for the Norwalk Film Festival, which we're really excited about. It's getting close. We closed our submissions October 1st. And I believe the count was about 130 film submissions, give or take a few. I don't know the exact account, which is really tremendous. We're really excited about it. And we're now in the process of our team is screening them. And after they're screened, we'll then judge and decide which ones will become part of the program. And we have last spring, when we all regrouped to do this second annual festival, we had our leadership team, which was 4 or 5 of us. We now have over 30 people involved, which is really exciting. And a lot of professional filmmakers and people really dedicated to the art of film. So we think we're really reaching this tipping point in the film festival becoming a sustainable annual event for the city of Norwalk's creative and artistic scene. So the festival is happening December 17th, Friday through Sunday. Venues will be, the main venue is the Wall Street Theater. We'll also be screening probably at the library, Factory Underground, at Juice, the marketing agency that's opened up in the old bank building on the Wall Street, So we have 3 to 4 venues, which is exciting. And we're trying to contain the screenings to that Wall Street area. So there's a walkability vibe that we can maybe get some of the restaurants in the area to do little partnerships, discount for a drink or dinner to really build a walkable film festival, which is what around the country is what's really successful. And we think the Wall Street area lends itself to that beautifully. So we're looking for sponsorships so we can make this accessible to people and not cost too much for a ticket. And what we proposed or asked to the Film Commission is at our director level, which is for a $500 sponsorship. And we can probably scroll on down to the slide that, so this is the, so we have higher levels, but understanding the limited resources of the Arts Commission. So here we are, we asked for the director sponsorship. And in return, the Arts Commission will be given a half page in our program book that will be distributed to everybody who attends. It will also be hopefully available digitally on our website, so get more hits and viewing that way. We're having the guys over at Mad Labs design a festival poster, and director level will have the logo of the Arts Commission on the poster, which we will get distributed around. For seats at a screening of your choice, the logo will be on our website with a backlink to, I don't know if the Cultural Alliance, the Arts Commission has a website, but there's a link on the city site, I believe, that we can link to. We will do an announce on our social media pages and press release information about the Arts Commission included in for your support. So we're hoping that we have you on board. We have received sponsorship at the $1,000 level from the Connecticut Office of Film, which is very exciting. Waiting for that check to arrive, but they've given us a verbal support. So at the state level, that's a nice, really nice, substantial level of support. So to have the city supporting in a financial way would be wonderful as well. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer or?
No, this is Melissa. I'd like to make a motion that we support on the director level.
Very good. That's, thank you, Melissa. Do we have a second on that motion?
Mark, I want, excuse me, I wanted to make one caveat because I
Sure.
wanted to also motion to approve this, but instead of the 4 seats, could the entire commission get a seat at the screening?
Yes, I will make that executive decision, of course. Yeah, we would
With,
love to have all of you there.
right, so with that change, then I second Melissa's motion.
Great.
Very good. I like that
Great.
idea a lot.
Yeah, and bring a friend who will buy a ticket. That would be nice, right?
All right. Very good. So I'm going to do a roll call vote to make it easy. I'm going to vote aye on this. I'm very happy to have the Arts Commission support this event. Elizabeth Tardif, what are your thoughts on this?
I vote aye.
Okay, thank you so much. Melissa, that's an aye, correct? And motion, and Bob. Kadeem Roberts, sir.
I, Kadeem Roberts, I vote in support of this.
Thank you so much. Janet Evelyn,
I vote aye.
thank you very much. And Nori Gruden.
I vote aye.
Okay. Well, that's unanimous. And the Arts Commission is happy to support the Noah Film Festival.
Thank you. And be sure to like our Facebook page and Instagram and stuff to keep track of what we're up to. Really appreciate the support. It means a lot to the city, I think. So thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
All righty.
Looking forward to it.
So with that, we can go back to the agenda. Does anybody else have anything they need to talk about before we adjourn for the evening?
I see that Julio is on the call. Maybe
Oh,
give
I
us,
didn't realize he was here.
yeah, maybe he could give us an update on
Yes.
art installation.
Yeah, we sort of missed that in the infrastructure, so I'd love to get an update on that if he's got a moment. Julio, are
Yeah.
you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't realize you were there.
No worries. I got here a little late, so apologies for that. As far as the MLK project is concerned, we're waiting for October 12th for a common council approval to go, I guess, to draw up the contract. We're at the contract stage, but the common council has to approve it. So that was a surprise, but so we're kind of sitting and waiting with starting on Lauren's murals. I will be starting the prep work, cleaning it up and priming it and all that. So looking to get that kind of going soon. And then hopefully by mid-October, get Lauren working.
When did that, Sabrina, when did that change as far as the need for common council to vote?
When we went to legal to have the mayor sign the contracts that we need to have in place for maintenance and term, they needed the council approval because in our charter, the mayor needs common council approval to sign anything.
So can I ask a question, Julio or Sabrina? Somebody can answer something. What is the next steps as far as that? Like does that come through any commission or committee or anything, or is it straight?
It's going to planning committee
Okay.
on Thursday, and then it'll go to common council at your next meeting, so the 12th.
All right, cool. So then I could talk to whomever I'm planning, but it should be fine. I got you, Julio. on that. I definitely
Yeah,
see somebody there.
I presented the proposal at the last planning committee meeting and everybody was supportive.
Great.
I just didn't know that we were gonna need the mayor's signature, so now I have to get the formal approval to forward it to council to get that approval.
All right, great. Yeah, definitely. Okay.
So, yeah, so we've been sitting on our hands, quite literally. I do have a development on the student project. I did get a verbal okay from Duvion and Jermaine to run the student project. So they're going to be drawing up kind of the plan for that. I just need to, I guess, make sure the locations that we shared were good to go. But they are interested in doing the project.
Okay.
We're gonna need to vote on the cost, right, Mark? We didn't vote on that yet,
Yeah, it was in the budget that I presented.
but we didn't approve that yet. We only approved the 2 installations, not the instruction yet. That has to get approved yet.
That's true.
Because originally it was proposed at 3,500. I think the last time you came in, it was 7,000, something like that.
Yeah.
So we need to understand, you were gonna come back with the details of that, and then we have to put it to a vote.
Yes. That would be the next step. Yes.
Okay. Thanks for pointing that out, Robert. Yeah, that's absolutely true. So do you, Julio, do you think that you would have the details of that worked out by the next meeting in November?
Yeah.
At that
Absolutely.
point, do you think we would still be in sort of painting season?
Well, yeah, that is a discussion. I had talked to Jermaine about it, and we seem to think that maybe the work can be done within this year, but then once the spring comes around, actually install it in the spring, but get all the work part of it done through the.
Yeah, I was unsure about the amount myself because you're doing the traffic boxes, because we've had a previously existing traffic box program. So with the city, with the program that we've had before, we were commissioning art at $1,000 a box. So now we're doing this for this part of MLK, but now the cost of having these guys supervise these students, suddenly it's like 7 times more or twice as much more as we would normally pay for commissioning a traffic box.
Right.
So I'm concerned about the kind of the cost escalating in terms of having Jermaine and Duvian sort of oversee this.
Right. Yeah. It's really for the teaching artists. We're talking about involving as many as 8 students. So trying to get students from the community involved. So that's really where the kind of the aspect of the extra money is. We'll be involving way more people.
But is it just one traffic box, or were you considering a few?
I think I showed 4. I think I showed 4.
I thought there were more.
Yeah, I think I showed 4 total, but I think actually there's probably another one, 5 as well, and then the wall on the Sono train station as well. But
okay. So
the budget would be allocated over 5 traffic boxes. Right?
okay.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, that makes a difference. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and really it's about kind of the teaching artist kind of thing, just kind of giving them the budget and figuring out how they want to use it.
And is that money coming out of the MLK budget?
Yes.
Okay. So if by November you can have sort of the details worked out on that, that'd be great.
Yes. And then just so you know, the discussion was whether or not to physically paint the boxes or to do it digitally with an output, and just to save time. and obviously the weather, if it's just a matter of going out and putting a sticker on it, that's a lot different than actually physically going out there and painting. But Jermaine's point of view was that was part of the lesson, was to actually be out in the element and painting in public. And so maybe there's a mixture of the two, where some of it gets done in the studio, ADK studio, and then gets brought to site and then just gets finished on site.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that we've been doing these paintings on these boxes. I think we've had we've sort of been building a cool history of doing these paintings on site. If we're going to shift over to, now having 5 boxes with a wrap, it kind of changes the overall, scope of the traffic graphic program. I think that's something we should discuss.
Yeah, absolutely. I think more than anything, it's just kind of, maybe so that they're not so precious. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of something that can be pulled off if it gets damaged or starts to fade. But yeah, I totally get the hand paint is definitely what's been established.
Yeah. Okay. All right, to be continued.
Yeah, I think costs would go up with the vinyl adhesive or the digital, right? It'd be a more expensive project than painting.
I've priced it out at about $250 per box for the digital output.
And then with the paint, you'll show both options to us. So we can
Honestly, I would leave it to Jermaine to kind of say kind of what he plans. But I can certainly show you my estimate that I have for the digital output.
I'd be curious, because I agree with Mark. I mean, I prefer painting, but I know they'll maybe get better life if it's digital and it can stay on there longer. Although if the boxes are treated well, they usually stay pretty good.
Yeah, I just worry, obviously, vandalism, but they don't really get vandalized. I think just the wear and tear of the winters.
But the city puts anti-graffiti, so basically there's requirements on the traffic boxes. They have to be treated with Golden's UVL, and then the city comes back and they put a anti-graffiti on top of it.
Yeah,
so that's part of their process. So usually when they do the anti-graffiti, it's pretty secure.
Yeah.
That paint's expensive. It's a couple $100 a gallon. So I know the city does that out of their expense.
Okay.
I mean, I think we're pretty fortunate. We haven't really had a graffiti problem.
As long as the boxes are prepped well, and then you use the Goldens on top, and they usually stay pretty good. The ones that Spag has done, they're in great shape. They've maintained. But digital can last 10 years if it's done right as well. So
yeah,
I'm just curious if it's an extra couple thousand.
Yeah, but those boxes are, these boxes go in and out of commission.
Yeah, that was the thought, that maybe it wouldn't be as precious. So, if you did have to change a box out, it wasn't like you had that obligation to take care of it because it was hand painted.
We actually just had that, Julio. We finished a box, and literally a year later they decommissioned it, and we didn't even know. Tony Mobilia's wife saw that it got decommissioned, so we actually have the box at the Spag Museum mansion now, but it got decommissioned in 12 months. Something happened and malfunctioned in the box, and they just replaced the whole thing, which.
Yeah.
And I have Duvian did a box. One of the first traffic boxes that Duvian did was about 10 years ago on West Avenue. And it was decommissioned. It was sitting in the DPW lot for almost 10 years. And it's now sitting on Isaac Street outside my house.
For the ones that are not being used right now, is there a possibility that they could replace some of the ones that look really bad?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's why I'm concerned about the traffic graphic program in general, because, like, for instance, there's one right outside the Sono Collection Mall, which had a whale painting on it. It was a terrible painting to begin with. Sorry for, you know. I
That's
know
the
it's not-
exact one I'm thinking of too, by the way, just to FYI.
Yeah, I know, I mean, I don't like to say art is terrible, but it really wasn't a very good painting, and it's gotten really, really poor weathered over the years, and I just feel like that needs to be redone. So I think that I would love to see that, become a part of the plan at some point.
Yeah.
I don't think the shells like act independently than the guts. I kind of think that's for some reason, because why wouldn't they have just swapped the shells out before? I think like the whole thing is part of like one unit. So I'm not sure if they can take an old shell and put it on it'd be great if they can do that, or, but they haven't. Usually when they decommission, they pull the whole thing out and then they give you back the shell. Be great to use
Yeah,
that.
I don't know. I don't know if the guts are attached to the inside or not. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a thought. If it's a digital output, it wouldn't be so precious. And if they had to trash it, they just trashed it.
Mm.
So
Yeah. Right. Well, we definitely have to think about that. Okay, anybody else have any business for us? Okay, it was a very successful meeting, I think, and do we have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
I'm sorry,
Motion to adjourn.
thank you so much.
I second, this is Melissa.
Thank you, Melissa. So we'll do a roll call. Well, we've got Elizabeth and Melissa. We'll go to Bob.
Yep, I motion to adjourn.
Thank you so much. Kadeem. Roberts.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you so much. Janet Evelyn,
Yes.
Nori Gruden.
Aye.
Okay, thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate your time. And I will follow up with you guys offline.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sabrina. Thank you for your support.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay,
Bye.
good night, everyone.
Good night.